Don't let this bad boy kill your dreams of purchasing your next home. Oh, you don't know what this is? Here's a hint. In this video, I'm going to tell you what this is, who should be aware of it, why it matters, how to avoid any unwanted surprises, and some examples of these changes and what they can look like. So stick around because I think you'll be surprised. Thanks again for joining me. As promised, let's talk about what this is. I've always been terrible at charades, but I'll give you a second to guess. Okay, this is called a trim notice. And it's funny they call it that because it usually doesn't trim anything. What is a trim notice? In 1980, Florida passed the Truth in Millage Trim Act. Each taxing entity. The notice of proposed property taxes is also known as a trim notice. The main purpose of the trim notice is to officially tell you what property appraiser came up with as the market value. Now, who should be aware of this? If you're a client looking for a property around August, September, October, November, aka ASUN, it is important to make sure that you take extra steps to know what the trim notice will show as a proposed property tax. If you're a real estate agent and you want to provide the most accurate and relevant information to your clients, you should be aware of trim notices and how they can affect your clients when they're purchasing properties around that time of year. If you're a loan officer doing a loan in Florida, especially when you're operating in a different state, it's extremely important to understand trim notices. Title companies and attorneys are usually ahead of the curve and well aware of any of these notices by the time closing, but it's also important for them to be aware since they are responsible for collecting enough escrows from the seller to ensure there isn't a significant shortfall on their part and you aren't left with paying too much in taxes. So what does a trim notice mean for first-time home buyers and why should you be aware of this? Well, when you're looking at properties, one of the key drivers is the monthly mortgage payment. Where this is especially important is on loans that are currently active in the ASUN months. And there's a good chance when you originally went into contract, you were basing your monthly payments on the prior year's property taxes. Since the trim notice gives you an estimation of what the proposed taxes will be, it helps with giving an accurate idea of what you should expect in terms of your mortgage payment. It doesn't matter if the number is higher or lower than the previous year, but this will still affect your debt to income and your cash to close. To use an example of a client I personally closed late August, a couple days right after trim notice was sent out, we had to send the file back to underwriting and unexpectedly pay off a credit card at closing. We had to do this because the taxes doubled and we now had to reduce the debt to income ratio. This inevitably pushed the cash to close higher because we had to collect more escrows from the higher proposed taxes showing on the trim notice. In the end, it all worked out, but it was a last-minute headache, and I would love for you to avoid that when possible. So when does the trim notice come out? The trim notice is typically mailed out to homeowners starting the middle to the end of August and is available online immediately after it's been mailed out. So how do you search for the trim notice? In any county across Florida, if you simply Google the county's name plus the property tax assessor or property tax appraiser, you should be able to easily access that information. In some counties, like Miami-Dade or Broward County, you'll need to input the specific property's address and access the actual trim notice through there. In any case, technology has made it easily accessible to get this information extremely fast and extremely reliably. So you see on the first example, taxes were $1,275 a year, and they were jumping up to anywhere between $35.87 and $37.18. So a significant jump in that example. In a second example, you see the taxes go up from $11.09 to $44.91. Wildly different. And then in my last example, you actually see the taxes go down. So the taxes for the property were actually $75.37, and they were going down from anywhere from $4,100 to about $3,900. So you can see that these play a significant role in the cash to close, and the debt to income ratio, and overall your monthly payment. So you want to avoid surprises when possible because it's going to put you in a position where at least you can anticipate if the property is going to have higher taxes, lower taxes, or if the property taxes are going to be on par with where they were the prior year. I hope you found this video beneficial and helpful, and if you know anyone that may benefit from seeing this, please feel free to share this video with them. Thank you again for spending time with me, and I hope you have a great day.